that's why.
I took a nap.
You still getting up at 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take naps too. Okay, so this isn't really new. But it's just more practice of finding like when the intersection, when there's like more than one part. So the first thing I would do here is find the intersections. So I'm going to have you try that, but you don't have the graph. That graph that's right there, like pretend you can't see that. And find where the x-intercepts are. Without a calculator. Without a calculator. Keep adding qualifications. You can't see the, well, you can use the graph to check your answers, right? Tell where the x-intercepts are. No graph. I'm just saying like for this specific graph. What are you guys doing?
Number 2, we plug in to solve, and it only gives half of the intersection, so we're going to figure that out. We're half.
How about you? They give you 2.
And when we graph it, they're there, but to solve it. Capsule doesn't give me
That's a thing.
That's separate. I plugged it like that to solve, and it just gave me. I don't know what it is.
What did this thing say?
I'll be back.
Oh, that's up to you.
I'll be back really quick. I just had white stuff in my head. I don't know where the white stuff came from.
Well, I said it, I was like,
Yeah, but like, you also
on
did
it.
Yeah, it's just on like
Are you trying to sequence on one end?
I did not.
See if that would
Hey, how was crack prep?
It was, okay, it was stupid because, you know, like, you were.
Oh, is it? That's E.
Fleming says, okay, we're done with this, we're gonna go do running. And then we had 3, 2, 1.
But I just like that. That's what it is.
Yeah, if we actually did that sprinting, it was really small, like way smaller. It was, yes.
It's just
Well, once we are great, we had the biggest team.
I'm trying to think of
It's not that bad. It's where it gets out.
All the grades were bigger against their own.
Because you get
More
Alright. So what I was going for is set these equal and solve. So if you don't have a calculator, that's what you do. And I would gather everything on one side and set it equal to 0. So I'll have 3x cubed. These will actually cancel. And then minus 12x. If I bring that over, what can I do from there? What can I factor out? 3x. Good. So then you have x squared minus 4. And then, that gives you 0. Yo.
I thought the like negative x squared, I thought that would make it like 2x or negative 2x.
So if you want to move that, you add x squared.
Oh,
And then you add over there. You know what I mean? So you get negative 2, 0, and 2. Other question on that part? So it's the x values, right? Negative 2, 0, and 2. So you're going to integrate from negative 2 to 0, and you're going to integrate from 0 to 2. And the way it's written with the f and the g, they're like named for you. I wouldn't rewrite them, but you do need to figure out which one goes on top. we're just gonna set it up. And usually on the AP test, it would be just set it up, but you have to figure out what's on top. So, if you have a graph, great. You can kind of look. Hopefully, you guys recognize that this kind of pattern is a cubed, where parabola-looking thing, even though it's upside down, is a squared. So you can kind of tell by looking. But if you didn't know, pick a number between, like pick -1. Plug it in there, see which one is bigger. But I know just by the fact that this is cubed, that the cubed one is on top between -2 and 0. The cubed one is the f of x. So I'm just going to say f of x minus g of x times dx. And then 0 to 2, do we see how it flips? So now the other equation's on top. So now it's going to be g minus f. Oh, I did per b. That's that. So on the AP test on multiple choice, they will present their answers this way. It won't have the G and the F, but they'll do like the whole big setup. So if it's on a multiple choice, you're going to want to do the whole setup and do top minus bottom, so you can just match up your setup to things. Where I'm going with this, if it's a free response or if they don't need to see your work, if you put the wrong one on top, what happens to your answer? Wrong hop. Yeah, wrong. Wrong hop. It'll be negative. It'll just flip the sign. So, if I do this right, it's going to do top minus bottom, and that'll be a positive area. If I screwed it up, all that happens is I'll get a negative of whatever I was supposed to get. There's two ways you can fix this, and this is just like for your own work if you don't have to show your work. You don't do this if you have to show your work. But if I just want to make sure everything's positive, now everything's positive. I just took the integral of that, or the absolute value of that, absolute value of that, and add them together. Or, even better, you can do it in one integral. You can go from -2 to 2, and I don't care which one's on top, because I'm going to do the absolute value of f of x minus g of x. But be careful with the absolute value signs. If you're doing it this way, you need it around both, on the outside. This way, you want them on the inside. So the idea is like if this is 8 and that's -6, this would now give you 8 plus 6, and this would now give you 8 plus 6, and so forth. Is that new? Like, do you guys consider that new material? No, just like the problem we just did. Is it new? Okay. The what? You like that?
Yeah, they're not separated.
Try 2. You can do this too. I'm going to say like f of x. If it just says y, you can't really do it. So I'm just renaming them. That's f of x. That's g of x. Do it with 3 integrals. Don't cheat. That's better. Do it with 3 integrals, and then do it with 1 integral. Try like both of those. Just the second. You're not doing the whole. Did that thing I typed didn't work?
No, it was something about some weird expression. I typed bills in just like regularly, and it gave like numbers. This one still gave me the first two.
That's still not all 4. But if you graph it, you can't find that. It's just why isn't the sum?
Yeah, I was concerned because I had the test.
Well, because you just see 2 and move on.
Yeah, but is it just a function ever press solver? You should always check graph, right?
Graph makes me feel better. So it's trying to.
So do it on solver, then graph it, check, make sure it's right number, and then
seems ridiculously annoying, but like to be super thorough, yeah. You don't like the grappling because you could just do that very well.
I guess I did, but signing all intersections.
It is, yeah. I've also never seen like 4 intersections. That's a lot. Wait, is it symmetric? The one you're doing? Like, could you just? There are number 2. There are number 2 on the actual. Is it symmetric where you could just find the first half of it and then double it?
And then I got it 0.44 and negative point something, and then the one through 6 is like 2.04 and 3.6. Like,
Which one?
I just noticed.
I'm not eating.
Solid use of class time. Good work. Doing awesome. Oh, it's easy. No, actually. No sarcasm.
He just got.
Oh, Dylan, nice job. I wasn't going to. Tony, nice job. That's what I should have. I should have come over here and just complimented you. When I coached, that was like the worst thing I could do. Like, you broke rules. How did everyone else run? When you sat outside and watched, because you're too good. Like, it's so pissed at that person.
That you're actually a mean person.
That's bad. That's bad. But like, this is like
But that actually
a bunch of
that works,
consequences.
though.
Like, I don't do it right away. Like, you kind of build up to that. But
Because imagine multiple times you're the person sitting on the side. You're getting.
you can get your ass kicked, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say that, but I don't care.
So well, first of all, I gotta find where they cross, right? So negative 1/2x squared plus 2 equals 1. So negative 1/2x squared equals negative 1. So x squared equals 2. So x equals plus or minus root 2. So these values here are positive and negative root 2. Is that part okay? Good. So between, like, to do this the thorough, correct, written out way, from negative 2 to negative square root of 2, which one's on top, G or F? It's always top minus bottom. G is on top, because that's the y equals 1. So this would be G of x minus f of x times dx. Plus, from negative root 2 to root 2, the f of x is on top, right? So f of x minus g of x times dx. Plus, from root 2 to 2, it flips back, and g of x is back on top again. So I think you can see why these are very often just set up. Like, if you had to type that in and figure it out, that would take like half the AP. It's even that is annoying. If you could do it in one, like, no one's gonna look at your work, and you just gotta get the answer. I'm just skipping all that, and I'm saying I'm going from one endpoint to the other, and I'm just going to absolute value. And if you do this, it doesn't matter what order you put those in, because the absolute value is going to want the same. Yeah. Is that okay for 2? That's all I got. Yeah. Oh, thumbs up.
I just looked at thumbs.
Oh, you're giving me my thumbs feedback. So notice that these all say just set up. Just go, do the whole thing. 1 through 7. 1 through 7, whole thing. You can use calculator. 1 through 7. Use your calculator. You guys do 7.
You know, dicks. You can use. Like the help ones.
Not even.
It's kind of.
You guys tried that.
Yeah.
When I was there,
Oh, you did?
and then
I would have like a
they were
sorry
like,
right there.
"You're not supposed to read it."
Oh, right at the bottom of the middle.
You must be
No,
Oh,
that's David.
Yes, yeah.
Not in this class.
It's just multiple times where I
Heels class is just like a calculus study hall.
I had Gary look down, look at my calculator.
What do you say?
He said, never mind, you got it. That's kind of how David's class is. He doesn't have to do any work for him.
Someone's making me a chessboard.
Let's go.
So let's work for me instead of work for me. You have made the school $100? You or you made the school? What are people buying? Is that like a 3D thing? Okay. You don't get any cut